What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel, and in this video, I want to give you guys my current take on Moderna Stock, or ticker symbol MRNA. Now, if you have tuned into the channel at all, then you would know that this is by no means a new face around here. We have been covering Moderna pretty consistently since back in March, been invested in it since through all the ups and downs, all the peaks and valleys. But considering they did release some amazing news yesterday, I wanted to give you guys my current thoughts on this stock specifically. Okay, so over the course of this video, we will take a look at the charts on TradingView, as you can see here in the back. I will let you guys know what I'm thinking in regard to price action, but first, as always, you guys know the drill. We will touch on the fundamentals and obtain an understanding of where Moderna is at as a company in the race to developing a COVID-19 vaccine. I imagine all of you know this, especially if you're watching, but Moderna is what I would say, currently at least, the leader in a race to that vaccine. All right, so we will touch on that. Before we dive into it, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you go on to gain value from it, or if you're invested in Moderna. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and check out my complete portfolio and daily newsletter. First link in the description if you're at all interested. All right, so again, we will dive into these charts after. I'll let you guys know where I think this is going in terms of price. But first, we will touch on the latest piece of news, and I forgot to float my face, so let me do that quick. Right there, float on top, my bad. Okay, so this is a New York Times article titled, "First Coronavirus Vaccine Tested in Humans Shows Early Promise." Okay, so this is amazing news. This is what led to that after hours price action yesterday. We did see a little drop off today, which is surprising to me, honestly. But again, I'll give you guys my take on price action after this. Okay, so the vaccine developed by government scientists and Moderna, a biotech company, appeared safe and provoked an immune response in 45 people in a study. All right. So let's move down here by Denise Grady. Give credit where credit's due. Okay, an experimental coronavirus vaccine made by the biotech company Moderna provoked a promising immune response against the virus and appeared safe in the first 45 people who received it. Researchers reported on Tuesday in the New England Journal of Medicine. You guys don't worry, we're not going to read through all this. I'm just going to read through this first highlighted segment. Moderna's vaccine, developed with researchers at the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, was the first coronavirus vaccine to be tested in humans, and the company announced on Tuesday that the large phase 3 test of it would begin on July 27th, so that's pretty soon, involving 30,000 people. Big deal. Half of the participants will be a control group who will receive placebos. Okay, the trial will need to show that those who were vaccinated were significantly less likely to contract the virus than those who got the placebo. The fastest way to get results is to test the vaccine in a hotspot with many cases, and the study is looking for people at high risk because of their locations or circumstances. Vaccines and improved treatments are the only hope of returning lives back to anything close to normal, and dozens of companies are racing to develop vaccines. Experts agree that more than one vaccine will be needed because no single company can produce the billions of doses needed. Okay, so again, if you guys have tuned into the channel, you guys would know that I cover this entire sector, not only Moderna. So I will post a stock talk later on if you're interested on my take on any of those. Currently, they did see some red. Today was a really good example. We have talked about this before, you guys, and we have been ready for it in a sense. When one company, because this is a competition at the same time, although sectors do move in unison a lot of the time, when one company releases significant, I should say, news in regard to like a real tangible step, which this is, that Moderna just took yesterday, towards a vaccine, towards an effective, efficacious vaccine, then the competitors will obviously see some red, and which is what happened today. Again, I will make a stock talk on that later and touch on that more. Let's focus on Moderna. Okay, so let's go to Moderna's actual website. Talked about this so much, I've never actually showed Moderna's website in a video. I do like to do this with all the stocks that I cover, especially these like single individual analyses, just because, again, I like to know how companies brand themselves and how they put themselves in their own words. All right, so this is on the investors tab under press releases. I just want to run through with you guys, if you're not familiar, if you haven't been following along for a long time, if you're new to Moderna, just a few, literally a few highlights that I made here. This is their press releases. If you guys want to find specific news on especially biotech companies, or even like the EV sector has all this, like many companies who are public have this segment on their website. So check out the investor tab on companies' websites if you just want a compilation of a bunch of their most significant news. All right, so July 14th, obviously what just dropped. Moderna announces publication of New England Journal of Medicine of interim results from phase 1 study of its mRNA vaccine against COVID-19. July 14th, of the same day, we just covered this in a stock talk, Moderna to join the NASDAQ 100 index beginning of July 20th, 2020. So that's a huge deal, especially for a pharmaceutical company to join the NASDAQ 100. That's a big deal, so congrats to Moderna there. That's cool in the investing sense. Obviously, when this is such an important company doing such an important thing. A lot of the news is focused obviously around the development of the vaccine, but this is good in terms of investor sentiment, okay? So let's go down here to just these two, and then we'll go into the charts. May 15th, Moderna congratulates Dr. Monsef, I'm not going to try that one, on his appointment to oversee the White House's Operation Warp Speed initiative. So Moderna Operation Warp Speed is the initiative by the White House, by the Trump administration, to expedite this project as much as possible, put as much money into it as necessary, because again, this is a global pandemic. This has caused the greatest economic crisis likely of our lifetimes. So they're just pumping all the money they can. They're printing trillions of it anyway, so they're pumping as much money and resources as they can into a successful vaccine. All right, so Moderna did set the trend. There are many other companies, many of which I will talk about in Stock Talk later, that have recently been initiated to this. So Moderna kind of set the trend. Again, Moderna is at this point objectively, and in my opinion as well, the leader in a vaccine. All right, so May 12th, prior to that, Moderna receives FDA fast track designation for mRNA vaccine against novel coronavirus. Okay, so this was a big deal. We did see this through all of these press releases. You'll always see a bump in price if it's significant, like these two. Like I remember during this time. Let's just use this opportunity to jump into the charts. Okay, so May 15th, right here, is when they released all that information about the fast track, about Operation Warp Speed. So again, big deal. I've had these lines drawn for the past 3 months almost. Like since probably right here back in mid-April, I've had these lines drawn. So again, we've been following Moderna for a long time. And as you can see, there were, as I said in the beginning, a lot of peaks and valleys, a lot of ups and downs. But in this sector specifically, it is so important, in my opinion at least, to practice strong hands. Because again, these are the save the world stocks right here, especially Moderna. Like this is a bet. When you're buying Moderna, when you're investing in Moderna, you are betting on optimism for the human species and science and humanity. Okay, so from a technical perspective, I'm not going to get super technical. You guys know that. Like the most effective single indicator, which is a very basic one. This is the barely technical analysis, almost fundamentals on charts. So the most basic indicator I've found over this market, over this crazy, wild, swingy, volatile stock market, is just general trend lines. Okay, so like this top line of resistance and this bottom line of supports is the single. Like obviously you can draw a little, like you can probably draw one in the middle that will follow the middle one. You know what? Let's do that right now, just because. Okay, so we'll go from this peak right here, and roughly go like that. So I think that's pretty fair. All right, so these are the three trend lines. This is the bottom line of support, middle line, very conservative line, and the top line, which is optimistic. Okay, so again, this top line I've had drawn here forever. What I think will happen, just to sum it up real quick, I do think that we will come back up to test this top trend line and test this line of resistance. Because again, it did, like you could draw this crazy too. Again, when I draw trend lines, and I recommend you guys do the same, when you draw trend lines, be on the conservative side. Don't do the absolute top. Don't do the absolute, don't do absolute highs. Maybe do absolute lows. But highs especially especially with stocks like this that are so bubbly, so swingy. Like this, I almost don't even take it into consideration. But this trend line is very solid in my mind, and I'm very comfortable using it. And I do believe that, especially with this news, this is such good news, you guys. I do believe that we will come back up to retest this trend line. And this, if it does reach this is early August, to be exact, just to put it on the head right here, August 4th of 2020, Moderna, if it follows this trend, if it does bounce off this trend line at this point, will be at roughly $120. Okay, so $118.44 to be exact. Again, give or take, you never know, just this general area. I do think that at the very least we could hit $110 in Moderna. My money's on it, you guys. I'm not just BSing this. Like my money is on the fact that we will probably hit $110 per share on Moderna by late July. Okay, so I will say that. Again, guys, remember, like this could absolutely not play out. The exact opposite of this could play out. This stock could absolutely crash considering it's run up so much. Okay, so there's always a bear argument somewhere. I myself am extremely bullish right now. Like it's surprising to me again that we pulled back today. So this is my long-term analysis. I'm a swing trader, guys, if you don't know that already. I'm not a day trader. I'm not trying to play the day-to-day. I'm trying to play like weekly, even monthly sometimes trends. Okay, so I believe that over the coming weeks or month or so, we will come back up to retest this line of resistance up here at $110 plus. Okay, so that is my long-term price target. Not long-term, midterm. Some could call it short term, but you guys know the deal. Like by early August, mid August at the latest, we will come and try to retest this line of resistance. Okay, so on the short term, let's take a look at this on just like the 5-day. Zoom in a little bit. It looks wild. Okay, so let's zoom in. All right, so as you can see here today, this is when Moderna obviously released the news yesterday. Yesterday after hours, Moderna was up 16%. It obviously kicked off the morning around 16% as well. So we were up to $88. All right, and it's very surprising to me that we saw this correction over the course of the day, because again, this is great news, and this is also good for this trend line. Again, you can move this down maybe a little bit just to touch that that area right there, the 14th, but again, trend lines give or take, but it is bouncing off this trend line. So I will keep this trend line on here and keep you guys posted on this, because I do believe that this could prove as an effective trend line to some extent. Okay, so gapped up super significantly, sold off, which is weird again, but whatever. I do want to show you guys right here. This is like the most ideal buying opportunity in my mind. Okay, you gap up, you spike up pre-market on great news, you crash, and then again, this doesn't happen every time, but it happens enough for me to confidently tell you guys that I do think this way and I do act upon this around 7:30. It's always around 7:30. So I live in Hawaii, so this is Hawaii time. Around 7:30, it's about 2 to 2.5 hours prior to market close. You will always see a dip or a significant like low or high in the markets. Okay, so always buy or sell around that time. That's what I do personally. That's what I feel is the most effective throughout the trading day. I never trade market opens. I've never seen a point to that, but I do like to trade around this time, because it's either if the market's going up, then this can be a high point, but if it's going down and you're seeing a correction, it can be a low point and a pivoting point. So again, you can see it bounced up. It did end up bouncing down again as the market was closing, but always just remember, you guys, like this, I did significantly increase my personal Moderna position around this area. So just take that. That's not completely relevant to specifically Moderna, but it's just a nice tip that I feel you guys could potentially implement to your trading strategy. All right, so that's pretty much my take on Moderna. Again, I'm not trying to play this day by day, you guys. I've throughout this entire thing, I've done my best at least to practice strong hands. Obviously, it altered my position accordingly to how bullish or uncertain I am on the stock. So I have altered my position. I haven't just left it untouched. Of course, I will push my calls back, whatnot. If you understand options trading, but I'm bullish on Moderna. I will just kind of end it there. Like, I'm bullish on Moderna. This is great news. I think Moderna will go significantly higher. Again, I do think they will go up to retest this trend line for sure. One more time, just for you guys, zoom out. It's such good news that they released. And again, they're the leader. When you're betting on this company, you're betting on optimism. You're betting on a cure to this virus that has caused so much global macroeconomic pain. And again, the markets all saw some green today too on that news. So the well-being of this company and the success of this company is so impactful to the world as a whole, not just the economy, but just the psyche, like the individual psyche of each person who has been impacted by this, which is pretty much everyone. So I'm bullish on this company. I think this company is obviously doing a great thing, as are a lot of these other companies in the space, which again, I will make a stock talk on later, because they saw some red, and poor Sorrento got so crushed today. So I will cover that later. It's a bummer, but again, you guys remember, these are competitors, so that's just the game we're playing. That's why you hedge yourself within these positions, okay? Have a little bit of each of these. But right now, I will tell you guys, Moderna is my greatest position. If you guys do want to know exactly what my positions are or how I'm trading all of these stocks, again, you can check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description. Exactly as it states, it is a complete breakdown of all my call options, all put options, all stock positions, all cryptos if you're into it, and along with that, I do send out an email newsletter during trading hours of every trading day, where I talk to you about the trades I made that day, new positions, closed positions, as well as just my general thoughts on the equity markets and the markets overall. So it's more real-time updates for me. I do upload these later in the day. So if you want more real-time updates, go check that out. If so, I appreciate it. If not, no worries at all. We'll call it there, guys. Again, stay tuned for that stock talk. And until then, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace. All right, later, guys.